Ahoy there, I'm Tiny Pirate and welcome to a build video for Rust. Now Rust isn't a game that I normally play on the channel, but I did want to bring you some ideas I've been having because I've been really enjoying it with a few buddies, and I thought you all might enjoy seeing a build that I've come up with. So what I'm doing today is showing you my version of Pepper the Red and Snow's Frugal Factory. Now the Frugal Factory is a design that allows you to cram a heck of a lot into a very small space, and I've got my own ideas on how to do that, so sit down and enjoy. This base, by the way, is worth about 1,000 in twigs and 5,800 in stone at its very basic setup, which for one person is achievable with a little bit of work, and for two people very achievable. And the best part about it is it grows very nicely into quite a large base if that's what you wish. So let's get started with the build. The first thing you want to do is to throw down a foundation, and you're going to want to throw down a square foundation somewhere very flat. I've chosen this beach, which is almost perfectly flat, and that will help me place a refinery later. So I'm going to lay it about this height where I can see the diagonal from the front legs hitting the back legs of the foundation. This height is very much jumpable by me, which is important because otherwise you could get stuck in your own base, which would be a fairly terrible thing to do. So lay down triangles on each corner and then follow up with a wall all the way around. And you're going to have the door on the left side because that will allow you to make a very simple airlock that works even with only one door. Not perfectly, but it does work. So get these up like this, and once you've got this basic setup upgraded, you are good to go. Eventually, of course, you're going to want to upgrade everything to metal on the ground. So you're going to want to upgrade your foundations to metal and obviously your walls to stone. But for now, wood or stone is just fine for your walls, and stone for the foundations is also just fine. Later on, make those upgrades. What you don't want to do is upgrade the center tile. You're going to want to remove that once you've got everything nice and set up and you're comfortable with how everything is laid out around your base and everything is nicely upgraded. So get everything upgraded first, and then you will be almost good to go. So the final thing to do is to throw in a little triangular ceiling there. You could upgrade it to stone, or if you're confident in your build, upgrade to wood early on, and that will allow you to remove it if you need to make the base a little tighter and safer in the future. So with that, you want to throw on your doors. First door, just make it angle in, and now no one can get into your base, even if you only have one door. The airlock will block them unless they get very creative about pushing their way in with a buddy, which can happen. But for now, you're basically secure. Give yourself a tool cupboard. Get the tool cupboard in this corner and try and place it so that not square on like this or lengthways like this. Place it like this. If you can see the doorknobs there, and get it right into that corner, which might require a little bit of jiggling just to get it perfect. There you go. That's in, tucked in, authorized, and now you hopefully have enough bits and bobs for a furnace, and you can in fact afford to throw that down. First place you want to throw it down is in the back here. Do not throw it down anywhere else. And your sleeping bag can go down. There you go. You are now secure. You can now start making stuff. You could probably think about throwing down a small box. One or two small boxes now that you are happy to throw away later is a good idea, and I'm just going to throw them out over here. I need to keep them away from the center for reasons you'll see shortly. So once that's done, I'm going to be happily smelting, making my doors, putting my code locks on things, that sort of stuff. Bam, there we go. That would be pretty fine like this. If you want to, now's the time to go ahead and upgrade and put in your ceilings. You'll be quite safe to do that, but I'm just going to leave those for now because they're giving us a bit of light. The next thing to do is to assume that you're going to be working towards perhaps a refinery. If you're anything like me, you do like to spend your time around components and component barrel spawns, and getting lots of crude is possible, but you generally don't have anything to do with it in the early game. But with this little base, you can get smelting it and turning it into fuel very quickly. So just a quick warning, when you're building, try and get your refinery as far as possible over to the side, or you'll end up getting quite stuck. It can be a bit of a fiddle to get that precise location, but if you do, then it does make quite a lot of difference to being able to get out of your base, and that is generally considered quite a good thing. Get that refinery well away from the edge. Make sure the pipe here isn't facing the door. It should be just fine. Anything that hangs out over the edge of these square foundations could be a problem. So pick up your sleeping bags if you have a problem. There you go, refinery is down, and I can pop my sleeping bag back over there. You can make this with 2 people, and I'll show you where to put the next person's bag once we get things set up. But for now, we're going to be very happy, and we can also throw in lots of hemp all the way around the bottom here, and it will grow very happily and have a nice little hemp farm for you. So what's the next step? The next step is to really start working on compressing as much stuff into the space as possible. First thing we can do is throw large boxes like this, followed up by a wooden wall. So I'm going to just throw a wall down here like this, a twig wall. I want to upgrade that to wood fairly promptly so that I don't risk accidentally destroying it and losing my box that sits on top. I've just upgraded it to stone because I'm an idiot. So there we go, 2 of those. Over here, now that the furnace is in, or the refinery is in, it's very easy for me to throw in 1 and then 2 furnaces to really get the old smelting going. Do not put these in before the refinery, or the refinery will not go. Over here, I can delete these, put another furnace at the back, or a small box, or a sleeping bag. You can find another spot for the sleeping bag, but these are all options depending on how your resources are going. You shouldn't have any problem getting the fuel you're building. There we go. So we're doing pretty good right now. Now's a good time to look up here. So what I like to do is just put in a wooden floor here and upgrade that. And likewise over here, again, pretty cheap. Oh, upgraded to stone. Never mind. And I can get up from these boxes up here as I need to, if I'm capable of doing jumps, which sometimes it looks like I'm not. There we go. Up here, I can put a buddy's sleeping bag. I can put one on the other side if I wish. Just sits quite snug like that. And then in comes a little box for good measure. Over here, you've got a few options. Generally, what I like to do is to make sure I have the cooking fire in. It's a bit of a pain to get to it, but you could always sacrifice your box over here, for example. There is quite a lot of storage. You could put the fire here, but if you're going for maximum available storage and maximum available workspace, then this is definitely the way to go. Fire goes right in the corner, and then we can start stacking boxes over here. So we stack one there, and then I'm just gonna rotate this box a little bit so it's a little bit more accessible, like that. Low wall again, upgrade that to wood so I can take it down later, and yet more boxes, not too far over my own head because I do have to move around the space after all. There we go. Can I get that in there? Now I should be able to get over here and look down and work on this fire if I need to and not burn myself, which is also nice. It's worth pointing out that you can stack a box on top of the open door. I advise you hold off on doing this until you have the rest of the room set up, because it's possible that you'll have a very difficult time squeezing out of your entrance if the gap above the door becomes a bit too congested. You also need to remember that to keep the box from collapsing, you need to make sure the door is open when you build or expand upon your base. With that, I'm almost done, and the final thing I want is a repair bench, and I have one here, and I can place it quite neatly in this corner. Alternately, I can, let me just jump up. Come on. I'm not the parkouriest of guys, so we'll get there in the end. Alright. So this will fit just snug in here. I could probably fit another small box down here, perhaps, if I'm very lucky. Perhaps not. Oh yeah, no, there's one there. Brilliant. That's even more boxes than I originally planned. It is possible to use this base as the start of a larger base. Here's a sample footprint I've been working on, which I think works pretty well if you want to take this starter base, this frugal tiny pirate factory, and turn it into a larger base. Lots of squares you can work with for your ladder hatches and for lots of room upstairs, but still plenty of triangles and walls, making it pretty difficult to get to the center. If you clear out the ground floor and put a triangle in the center, wall it up with a tool cupboard, then you will be able to achieve 5 or 6 walls to the tool cupboard, depending on where people blow in, and I usually find that's plenty. When people see a base this size, they're usually just going to go straight for the rockets, and there's a lot of walls here to slow down their progress. Anyway, if you've enjoyed my take on the Frugal Factory, then do let me know in the comments below. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe because I don't always cover Rust, but if you like indie games and the kind of stuff I cover, then yeah, come along and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've been Tiny Pirate. Have fun. Goodbye.